Juan Soto will be a huge addition and will obviously help an offense that stalled a lot last season. But a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges are still ahead. You heard at the top of our show, Aaron Boone has already said they're hell-bent on winning a championship. Well, that journey starts today as they try and make that happen.
Everything with 162 games ahead feels fresh and new, and we said that clean slate. What's your Hyundai opening comment?
Yeah, I mean, all the players are looking forward to having a great year, but I think they're also thinking back to the way last year ended and thinking back to the totality of last year. And I think the Yankees need to have a sense of urgency right from opening day, right from the first road trip, because when we think back to last year, some of the sound we heard out of the clubhouse after losses was, we're going to be fine. We're the New York Yankees. We're champions. Well, all of a sudden, that narrative changed when you couldn't kind of get it going. So I think Aaron Boone, all spring training, when he said, we have to go out and prove it, we have to go show it, well, it starts today with a little sense of urgency.
We have so much to talk about going into this game and series. We're going to get out to Meredith Marakovits in just a bit. So with so much to do, I'm just going to shuffle on to my next subject. You get where I'm going. It's the Soto shuffle. Juan Soto joining this team. And you look at what he's done in terms of his on-base percentage and his at-bats. 4 100-plus walk seasons. Well, certainly a lot of shuffle thrown in. And a 19% walk rate, second highest in the expansion era, only to Barry Bonds. And Flash, we wondered, would he bat second? Would he bat third? What impact is he having in the lineup now that we know he's batting second?
Well, I think we can look at all these numbers and we can look at the Soto shuffle, and it's all very impressive for a very young player. But I think I'm going to go back to my opening comment, a sense of urgency. When you watch Soto go to the plate in spring training, you can tell how every at-bat, every pitch is so important to him. And I think that's going to rub off on the rest of this lineup. There were a lot of outs last year, a lot of swings and miss, a lot of non-competitive at-bats. When I watched him, Jack, in spring training, go the way he went about his business, that has to rub off on everybody else, that every pitch is going to be important, every game is going to be important, whether it's the beginning of the year or midway through.
I'm glad you talked about spring training, because the motto or the mantra sometimes about spring training is, oh, it doesn't matter. We got a glimpse of who Juan Soto is throughout spring training, because as John said, he showed you immediately what kind of hitter he is. John and I did a game against the Pittsburgh Pirates where Marco Gonzalez was on the mound. And I would say in Soto's first two at-bats, Gonzalez threw 4 or 5 pitches that were right on the corner. Soto didn't even sniff at swinging at them. I do think it will impact the rest of the lineup. It reminds me of when Wade Boggs became a Yankee, when the Yankees signed him as a free agent, and suddenly everybody in the lineup watched this multi-batting champion. Oh, wow, he takes a lot of pitches. Oh, he makes them throw strikes. Soto is going to have an impact in what he does, but also up and down the lineup.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because we all work spring games together, and we just noticed a lot deeper at bats. 2-2 counts, 3-2 counts. Can one guy joining a team have that kind of effect on already seasoned hitters like a Judge or a Rizzo?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about Aaron Judge, who's going to be hitting behind Juan Soto today and probably a majority of the year. If you're standing on deck and you have Gleyber Torres or DJ LeMahieu leading off and then Soto following him up, you're probably going to get a look at maybe 10, 12, 15 pitches and get a good idea of what that starting pitcher has that afternoon or that evening. And I think the other part of it is just the command of the strike zone. We saw so many swings and misses of pitches out of the zone last year. Yes, one guy can make a huge difference in setting an offensive personality for a ball club.
The mission is to wear the starting pitcher out, and great Yankee teams have been able to do that over the years. They weren't able to do that last year, and you understand that the Yankees knew that was something that had to be corrected. Obviously, Soto is at the top of that list, but Verdugo is a guy who sees a lot of pitches. Rizzo has good at-bats. We know that Judge is choosy when he is up there. Gleyber Torres made huge strides and become a choosier hitter. So I absolutely think that we're going to see a different offense from the Yankees. Not only more explosive, but more selective.
Fellas, let's look at the opening day 26-man roster for the Yankees. It's a 4-man bench. John Birdie just acquired from the Marlins. Jahmai Jones, Trent Grisham, and Austin Wells. So they went with 2 catchers. You see the 5 starting pitchers, the bullpen on the right, then the starting lineup on the left. And Jack, as you look at that in the roster construction, listen, some is by necessity, obviously, because of some injuries to certain players, LeMahieu, Peraza, etc. What do you think about that roster?
Well, I'm a fan of the John Birdie move, and we talked about this at the end of spring training. When we were talking about roster construction, we said there might be a player or two who aren't on the roster currently, and we ended up being correct as they swing that trade, a 3-team trade with the Marlins and the Rays to get Birdie, so I like that. And then if I had to pick one other guy on that roster, it would be Luis Gil, because I love when a player comes into spring training and just wins a job, just knocks everybody else out of the way. I thought there was a chance the Yankees might go with Warren in the rotation and take that flame-throwing arm of Gil's and go to the bullpen with it, knowing you could get 3 innings out of him. He deserved to be the number 5 guy, and there are hitters who are going to rue the fact that they've got to face Luis Gil 3 times in a game.
Yeah, when I look at that opening day roster, obviously I love Birdie in the addition, but I think how this roster is going to look 2 weeks from now, right? If DJ LeMahieu comes back healthy, now Birdie is the type of player who can play all the infield positions, the outfield positions, and can steal a base for you when you need it. He's going to be a great bench guy. I look at the Yankee bench, Grisham, and a Gold Glove center fielder. He's going to be a valuable piece. And then I pull for Austin Wells. This guy was so impressive in September last year. And to Jack's point, like Luis Gil, Wells went in this spring and won a job, right? He had every option that they could have sent him down. He hit over 300. He was very impressive behind the plate. So I'm intrigued on Trevino being healthy, Wells being the young left-handed hitter, how that's going to play out. Is it 60-40? Yeah. Trevino at the beginning, is that going to switch maybe sometime as we get into the season? And a couple of those relievers that we're going to talk about have multiple inning stuff that's going to be so important the first week.
Well, fellas, we are just getting started here on a jam-packed FanDuel Yankees pregame. Still to come, we spotlight the opening day starter, Nestor Cortez, and his journey back from injury. We talk to the captain, Aaron Judge, to gauge his expectations for 2024. And we break down his new Bash brother, Juan Soto, ahead of his debut as a Bomber. Plus, we check the lineups, set the scene from Houston, and so much more, including a chat with Meredith Marakovitz on the field in Houston.
Thanks, Bob. Coming up, I'll dive into the Yankees' 2024 opening day roster, and I'll have the latest injury notes on Garrett Cole and DJ LeMahieu. Not to mention, later in the show, I'll talk to the captain, number 99, Aaron